Thanks, Wardy. Yes, it's decision time coming in English cricket around the schedule and structure of the game, number of potential county championship matches and all that kind of thing. And a way into that debate, we thought we'd look at a recent championship game between Somerset and Durham at Taunton and some of the issues that came out of that game. If I just show you a picture of the pitch before a ball had been bowled, that was it at Taunton. Ricky, you were a overseas player for Somerset very briefly back in the day. I can't imagine, you can't judge a pitch by how it looks, but I can't imagine they looked like that when you were there.
No, not even the practice wickets looked like that when I was there. It was the place to bat in the country. I remember that, like everyone that you spoke to, good idea signing to go and play with Somerset, fill your boots while you're down there. No, that was a great place to bat. One, because of the centre pitch, but also the wicket block going all the way across the ground. So you got small ground, great value for shots, but always a really good batting pitch.
If we just show you some footage of that game, it was a game that finished tea time on the second day. Craig Overton got 6 wickets in the first innings, and then Leach and Vaughan opened the bowling, picked up 10 between them as the pitch dusted up on the second. So it finished quickly, tea time, second day. But a month before, Durham had been to the Oval and Surrey had scored 820 and Durham were 262 for none in their second innings, another Kookaburra game. I suppose what we're talking about is the two extremes there, bowler-friendly, batting-friendly. Is the definition of a good pitch somewhere in between that provides a fair balance between bat and ball, or a good balance between bat and ball?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, no one wants to see 800 and plenty, but also that sort of game's too fast as well, isn't it? You see how much it's spinning on day 2 and nipping around day 1. There is a balance to be had, but also when you're the home team, you're the one who can control the pitch, and you design a pitch that suits your side. So Somerset have Leach and Archie Vaughan spinners, left arm spin, off spin, so they design a pitch that is going to spin, just gone to the too extreme. And the Oval, they've struggled a little bit in the last few years. Although they've won the championship, it's nipped around. It's been an average score of sort of 230, 240, whereas the Oval used to be just a beauty to bat on. And the Kookaburra ball arrived, they tried to make it a little bit batter-friendly, and it went too far. I mean, I think Durham in that game were 260 for none in their last innings as well. So, you know,
a ball fest.
Yeah, that cricket's no good for anybody. I would much prefer to watch what happened at Taunton than what happened at the Oval with those scores, but somewhere in between is about perfect.
And it prompted a tweet from our old mate, Ian Botham, who of course is a former Somerset player, but it was quite a strongly worded tweet. He's the chairman of Durham now. I find this appalling, he says, at a time when county cricket is under pressure for relevance as a breeding ground for international players. These are not first-class cricket conditions in midsummer. Not surprised that Rob Key, that is, and Ben Stokes, unfortunately, have to disregard county performances in assessing players for test quality appearances. Reduces the game to a farce. Nas, there's a lot to unpick there, isn't there? Because it goes into all kinds of issues. Are some of those criticisms fair?
Obviously, if you view that pitch in isolation, that is not good enough for first-class cricket. You can argue it's not good enough for club cricket. You just want that even contest that you mentioned. It's nowhere near. Far too much in the favour of any type of bowler. But in defence of Somerset, I would say a little bit because of what Ricky mentioned, historically flat pitches couldn't get results. So they changed it a bit. They either made them spin, which I think they've produced some beautiful spinning pitches. And when we go abroad and we can't play spin or bowl spin, don't moan if you're not playing on spinning pitches. Monty Panesar and Graham Spon were brought up on Wantage Road, where they left it green in the middle, bare at the ends, and we produced 2 of our finest spinners. So you do need to have those sort of pitches. But if you leave, they've left grass on it this season. There's been other pitches there where first day, someone's sending a photo, and right at the death, after 4 days, there's men round the bat, there's real drama. And that's the thing I'd say about Somerset, watching them over the last few years on the feed. They have produced some of the best games of cricket that I have seen. So in isolation, that pitch is not good enough, but Somerset as a club, they do things well down there. They produced Ian Botham, one of the greatest all-rounders to ever play the game. They produced Josh Butler, the greatest white ball player we've had. So they do things pretty well down there. They just got that one wrong, in my opinion.
So let's broaden it out a bit to more general topics. I mean, Stuart mentioned home advantage there. Home advantage exists in all sport, doesn't it? Why shouldn't a home team, whether it be a test match international team or a county or a state team, just say we're going to play to our strengths?
Yeah, well, I mean,
Did you, as Australian captain, for example, demand certain pitches?
No, I didn't. But it's a lifelong debate, this, isn't it? When you think about the international game and what wickets India might produce, what New Zealand have done over the years to suit Bolt and Southey and those sort of guys. My whole time as Australian captain or Australian player, I never had a conversation. I know for a fact that the coach never, when I was captain, never had a conversation with any groundsman in Australia about what wicket we wanted. It was always just left up to that groundsman and that association to prepare, as we said, the best and fairest wicket that is actually characteristically the same as what it should be for that venue. So you knew you're never going to go to Sydney and have a raging green top. It was always going to start as a good wicket and then break up and spin late in the game. Now our wickets at home have changed
I have
a lot.
to say, in fairness, I went to the Gabba for my first Ashes Test match, pre-Warne, and it was green as old boots. And then in 1995, when you had Shane Warne, it was about the colour of Broadie's trousers there.
I don't think it would have worried Warnie if it was green or if it wasn't. What do you say? If it seemed it spun, it wouldn't have worried him. And I mean, our wickets have changed a lot in Australia over the years because of the drop-ins in certain areas. The pink ball game now in Adelaide and what they've done with that wicket there, leaving long thatchy grass on that wicket to help preserve the pink Kookaburra ball. So things have changed a lot at home, but the home ground advantage one is a difficult one. Like sometimes I sit on one side of the fence and think, yeah, just let them go, just let them produce whatever they want, because that's what that advantage is. But when you see it go a little bit too far, too extreme, like we have seen with that Somerset one, I think that's too far, and I think that's happened a few times in Test cricket as well over the last.
I was going to ask that. You're the most recently retired of us all, and you've played in since the World Test Championship has come in. The fact that there's points now and a lot at stake, with a Test Championship at stake, do you think teams have moved more to producing pitches for home advantage?
Not in England. I mean, I know Ben Stokes is particularly frustrated this summer with the pitches that have been produced. I think whatever Rob Key will request, I don't think they're necessarily getting what England would want to be playing on. England want to play on pitches that are bouncing, not necessarily seaming around, but bouncing through with decent pace and carry. Headingley was a brilliant pitch, and the other three haven't been quick with pace and carry of what Ben Stokes would want, bringing the slips into play when a batter comes forward. So, no, I don't think teams have gone particularly in one way, trying to create a surface that makes sure you win. There's always going to be little mistakes. When I think of that Taunton pitch, I have a bit of sympathy for the ground staff as well.
It's not an exact science as well, is it?
And also, they've got ground staff who are used to Duke's ball and producing pitches that react with the Duke's ball. Then we drop in a Kookaburra round. We don't know how the Kookaburra is going to react on certain styles of surfaces. And so you don't quite know the balance of how to get a pitch right. But obviously, Test cricket here, we use the Dukes. And I definitely lean on the side, certainly the last sort of 5-6 years of my career, that pitches were designed to last 4 or 5 days rather than for England to win.
We'll get to the Dukes Kookaburra debate because it's quite an interesting one in a minute. But part of Beefy's tweet is he's talking about, county stats against international stats. And if the conditions are not replicated at a domestic level compared to what you have in international level, it's very hard then for the selectors to kind of make judgments. And what we've seen under this selection panel, I mean, Liam Dawson is a classic pick on county form, but they've moved away from that, haven't they? Rayan Ahmed, Tom Hartley, Jacob Bethel classically. A lot of their picks there in the last 3 years have not been based on domestic form at all.
No, they've not, because of the reasons that we are giving here. You play a slightly different form of cricket in county cricket. The pace isn't quite there. There's people trying to blow your pad off and LBWs and bowl stump to stump, whereas in international cricket, as we're seeing here, the pace is high. You have to play the ball above your waist a little bit. I think it goes back to the classic debate, is what is a county for compared to county against international country? Is a county there just to look after itself and its members and win tournaments and trophies, or are they there to produce international cricketers? And I think you work the other way around. I think our system works if everyone realises that if you have a successful England cricket team, everything will filter down from there. If you have a successful, winning, watchable England cricket team, sponsors will enjoy it, broadcasters will buy the rights, fans will turn up, kids will want to Go back to Joe Root on the interview this morning. I grew up watching 2005. I wanted to be there. If you have a successful side, everything follows from that. But a county does have to look after its member. If you don't win something as captain or director of cricket or coach, you will get sacked.
And we're lucky in England in that, you know, for example, in Australia, crowds for domestic Shield cricket, 4-day cricket, are virtually non-existent, aren't they? We have a very vibrant domestic game. You know, Surrey are getting 15,000 through the gates at the Oval to watch a 4-day county championship game. So is it fair enough for a county to say, well, we've got to service our members, our supporters, you know, the people who are coming to watch our game, and therefore we want to give them a result pitch to entertain them?
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure that is the aim of a curated groundsman most. I'm sure he wants to produce the best wicket that he can, taking all those factors into account. Have a good, even contest. Make it something that spectators want to watch. Give the home team the best chance of winning still. I'm sure all those factors have got to go into one. I'm sure they don't sit around and say, we'll just go out and
as a young cricketer, what kind of pitches do you think help produce the best cricketers? As you're growing up as a teenager, you know, where you were growing up in Tasmania, I mean, were they particularly good pitches that were pacey and bouncy and, you know, helped to make you the player that you were?
Well, that's a really good point, actually, because as I said, wickets in Australia have changed a lot from the time that I started until where they are now. And a lot of the reason for that was Queensland used to dominate the Sheffield Shield every year. And they would play 4 or 5 games at home before Christmas every year on really green wickets. So everyone that went there inevitably be lost. Yeah. Then you would go to Adelaide and Tasmania before Christmas where you couldn't get a result. Adelaide was too flat, Hobart was too flat. So you look at the Sheffield Shield competition then, and other teams were getting left behind. They couldn't get results, whereas Queensland were out in front all the time. So South Australia, Tasmania, for instance, went the other way and said, if we're going to win the Sheffield Shield, we have to get results at home. So then now Bell Reeve is almost like playing it at the Gabba, where it swings and seams all over the place. That's totally different than what it was. But that's all based on, like Nasser's point, that's not necessarily based on producing international cricketers in Tasmania. It was about Tasmania needing to win something to stay relevant. And I mean, the interesting thing is, well, the 2 games that you mentioned, the Somerset game there and the game at the Oval that you talked about, there still would have been standout performances one way or the other in those games, right? And it might have been on a really flat wicket. There still would have been a standout quick that looked better than the rest and was able to find a way to play some sort of role. You know, Jack Leach bowling down there, he might have to bowl on something like that in India. So
yeah, I mean, if he's listening to this, he'll be saying, well, when it seems around, nobody talks about, you know, the seam bowlers getting wickets. You have to learn to bowl on a spinning pitch, which is, I think, the point you were making earlier, and bat against it. Yeah.
Watch some of those dismissals there. It was everything that you're not supposed
shouldn't
to
do. Yes.
So that must be good for some. Yeah. Like players would walk away from that batters and think, oh, why did I get a leading edge to that one to Jack Leach? So there's learnings from any surface that you play on.
What I like about this regime at the moment is that they are thinking long term. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. So if you carry on with the status quo, we will produce Broad and Anderson, we will produce players who are excellent, but you want to try and then go away from that and win. We haven't won in Australia since 2010-11, and before that we hadn't won for a long time. So you're going to need pace, and this regime wants to find pace. We did that bullet points, so how you get quicker bowlers. They need to find spin. They need to work out how to get 20 wickets on flat pitches, and that's why the Kookaburra ball has come in. And this latest round, you look at Hartley, you look at Rayan Ahmed, it's going to be a long-term project. It's not going to happen overnight. For a long time, there's going to be pain. There's going to be boring games. But eventually, if you are playing on pitches like, not 14 games, 3 games, 4 games, if you're playing on pitches like that, the Rayan Ahmeds will improve, Tom Hartley will improve, people will go on and get big runs. So I do like that they're thinking out of the box and thinking long term. It's very easy just to think short term. We're okay, we'll win at home, we'll win in England, we've always done that, and don't worry about Australia. When we get to Australia and we lose again, don't moan if you haven't tried to fix the problem.
Well, let's move to the Duke's Kookaburra. I think we've got a little graphic that will show the difference in runs per wicket between the Kookaburra and the Dukes this year in county cricket. It's quite a significant one. The Dukes is regarded as a more bowler-friendly ball, the Kookaburra a more batting-friendly ball, if my eyes are okay. It's 32 for the Dukes and 41 for the Kookaburra. Stuart Broad, are you a fan of the Kookaburra in England?
Am I a fan of it? To be honest, I don't really mind what balls use. I think you can pick out international quality players with either. I think one thing about county cricket, you can spot a player. You can see someone who just moves the ball a bit more than someone else, or someone who plays a cover drive or a pull shot where you go, oh, that player's got something different. So to me, it doesn't... I think the Kookaburra probably makes those players stand out a little bit more because you have to do something a bit different with the ball, and particularly the bowlers on that front.
And will encourage spin, as Nasser said, Tom Hartley, Rayan Ahmed.
Yeah, particularly this round.
And runs this round.
Yeah.
And for a long time, we've been saying that the spin cupboard is bare because we've been playing on little nipping seamy pitches.
And it makes you, as a bowler, work on different tactical things. A lot of the time in county cricket, you can hold the seam up straight, get it down full of a length and bring the stumps into play. In test match cricket all around the world, you need to have different strings to your bow, so there might be round the wicket bouncers. Well, if that Kookaburra ball for a period of time means you have to work on a skill of coming round the wicket that we know Ben Stokes, England captain, wants you to be able to do. He wants every bowler to have that in the locker if he wants to go to that tactically. India in this test match didn't have that, did they? They only had Bumrah really and Siraj who could do it. You want bowlers who can have different tactics, and the Kookaburra does allow that. It does bring the draw into play a lot more. If you're averaging 41 per wicket, there's going to be more draws in the championship. So teams will have to look at those games of how they're going to get results, and that's where the Somerset pitch comes in,
yes.
Because they've gone, we don't want to draw this game. Yeah. We want a result either way. The Kookaburra ball is going to lean it towards being a draw. Let's try and get a win.
But the irony is, Ricky, if I've just put up a tweet that Steve Smith sent out the other day, is that we're going for the Kookaburra on flatter, generally surfaces here, but Steve Smith's saying there, as in England's batters are going to be challenged a little bit differently. The wickets in Australia in the last 3 or 4 years have been very tricky for top-order batters. It's going to be a good challenge for them. Will they be tricky this winter?
Yeah, I think they will be, yeah. Yeah, I mean, and there's a few factors for that. I mean, the pink ball test in Adelaide that's been hard with the brand new ball. It's obviously been hard in the evening session as well. Brisbane, we know day one is a challenge early on. Canberra gets better as the game goes on. The MCG is the interesting one because that's probably been the hardest wicket to bat on for the last 3 or 4 years because they got to a point where they produced, and they got the poor rating 2 or 3 years in a row. So if they'd have produced one more wicket like that, they would have actually lost the test match. So they had to go back in and completely redo the drop-ins. And in Melbourne, the last 3 or 4 years, they played on wickets that have had, I think, about 8 millimetres of grass on them. And I think Stu we were talking about it earlier, Scott Boland's debut there against England when he got 6 for, that's not characteristic of what the MCG used to be like.
But they might be tricky, but not as tricky as Jamaica.
We just had it
in 1998.
We just had it ridiculously tough.
We are the only ones to play in a test match that's been abandoned because of the bad quality of the surface. This is that was the only one that didn't do anything, and you made it look like a minefield, by the way.
These did do something. Histrionics from the gaffer.
This was a shocking surface. Look at that go. Mind you, David Williams is quite short, by the way, the wicket-keeper. And young Thorpe again. The funny thing was Butch had just been brought in for this game and he got an absolute flyer that flew off the shoulder of his bat first ball. Brian Lara called me out and said, I think this is not good enough for first-class cricket or indeed Test cricket. We had to abandon the game. Were you not out at the end of that? Did you get a red ink?
No, I was out. And
it counts?
I asked Benedict, that's the first thing I asked Benedict, did that count, that game? He said, yeah. I was like, great.
Well, it's a better surface here at Old Trafford for sure. Joe Root certainly enjoyed it yesterday.